Well, here we go. We now have the last level to check out, and that, of course, is Headman Manor. This one is a little bit interesting. There's actually a lot more interesting things with Headman Manor than I originally thought there would be, and it's given me a new respect for this level. I still think it is the worst level out of all of the levels for a number of reasons, and we can go over that in another video some other time. But for now, let's check out all of these weird secrets we can get at Headman Manor by going out of bounds. Oh, wow. I never knew there was a moon up here. This is very interesting. This is kind of interesting. This like little sunset thing, whatever this is meant to be, I guess a light inside of a room or something like that, is a separate PNG behind the windows. Wow, yeah, even this is another thing with the stairs. This is also the same staircase. It isn't just a shorter staircase. It is still the same large staircase. It just is put in such a way that you can't tell because they put terrain, they put an obstacle here so you can't actually see through. But if you could see through this, you would see that the staircase goes down quite a ways, actually. This is interesting too, because I've always wondered, I've been through here a few times and I've always wondered what's around the corner. Is there anything around the corner? But if you go over here around the corner, it's just nothing. Actually, let me teleport myself in here. Yeah, and then I could. Interesting. I can just kind of, yeah, so there's nothing around the corner, but they do a really good job of making it look like there is something around the corner, because if you, even at this angle, you can see kind of quite a ways around the corner, or at least a little bit around the corner, and they did maybe almost more than they needed to, just to be extra safe. If you could get on the other side of this fence, you would, with enough jump upgrades, be able to actually escape the map from this way. Obviously, you could from that way, but going up this way, you'd probably be safe because there's this grate right here. Wow, that is clever. Again, they found another way to be lazy and not have to model more stairs. You can actually see the seam right here, but they made a new item, or like a new object or something like that, to make this look like it's just one long staircase. But again, if you look very carefully, you can see where the staircase is split. So this is one staircase, and then this is another one. And you can actually see the seams right here where they connect. That is so interesting. This is interesting too, because this window, it has a moon here. And you'd think that that's just a moon object, that's all there is. But if you come through here, it's like a whole, like there's like 3 or 4 walls here just stashed together, and then the moon right here. Which is interesting. Oh, wow. And then they got the big moon spotlight on there. That's goofy a little bit. Is there anything underneath the sewage? I assume this is sewage. There isn't anything under the sewage. There is kind of weird textures right here and stuff like that. But again, you're not meant to be able to see this. So I can see why it didn't really matter. Got some pipes here. That's why it's got to be sewer, right? Because there's like a bathroom here, and then the pipes just go into nothing. This room is interesting because it has like a mine in here, and you can go in and go around the corners and stuff like that, and then there's stuff you can find. There is a pit here as well, and if we go down here, there is absolutely nothing special about this pit at all. Now, this is a room I actually kind of like because it has some parkour challenges, because sometimes objects spawn here and sometimes objects spawn here. But what's in here? There is nothing in here besides what you can actually see. And in the pit, it is just a pit. However, there is a broken TV down here for some reason. And I'm not sure why there's a broken TV down here, but there just is. So, is it always there? I actually have no idea if it's always there, but it's kind of interesting. I haven't really got to take a look at the fireplaces yet, but unfortunately, the fireplaces are plugged up. There's nothing, it doesn't go into anything. This is really interesting as well. There's a picture in the, and I've always wondered what this picture was because it's always so dark you can't tell what it is. But with this brightness on, you can tell that it is 2 people without heads shaking hands. Very bizarre. I feel like that says something about the headman. Does it not? Does that imply something with the headman? I don't know, but there is a picture with 2 guys shaking hands that are just, they're headless. So the head guy could be, unless that is just their photo been taken out or something. I don't know. The headman is like a whole species of people without heads. So if you're curious of what's inside the weird deceased version of a mob, it actually is kind of interesting. When you get really close, you can see what it looks like, but you can actually go inside and you can see a better look at the weird orbit that's in the middle. And then you can go inside of that, and then you can still see the particles floating around, which I think is really cool. I don't know if this is different for every monster. I'm gonna try to find out. I just killed a bow tie over here, so let's find out if it is different. It looks like it's the same, and now that I'm actually looking at it again, this might be, and I could be wrong about this, this is just an assumption, this could be the globe item, just retextured, sorry, not retextured, but the colors of it changed, like inverted or something like that. Because it does kind of look like it, doesn't it? And it might just be me overthinking things. Oh, some clipping already, immediately. This hallway, there's this bump right here, and it actually clips outside the map slightly. Kind of interesting. Oh man, that's weird. Yeah, both sides do this. It's almost like this is a separate tile that connects to it or something, and that's why it does it, maybe, perhaps? Question mark? I've honestly never gotten a really good look at this before, to be honest with you. Oh, wow. Actually, there's something inside of the head. You can actually go inside the head and see their frowning face. Yeah, here's more of those pictures. There's a lot of them right here, specifically in this room for some reason. Kind of strange. Also, the books on this shelf, that's just really strange. They clip out of this for some reason. I'm not sure why that's the case. The other one doesn't. That's weird that that one does. That's very bizarre, actually. If you get a really close look at this, you can see that this door isn't actually attached to the actual furnace or whatever this is. And you can actually go inside of here and you can actually see inside of this thing. So I wonder if there was a time in development where there was a way to open this, possibly, and maybe you could hide inside of it, or maybe there could be items inside of it or something like that. I wonder if that was possibly part of development at some point in time. There's a raven. Little raven painting. Beautiful. You know, I've seen this painting so many times, and I always thought he just had a weird mustache, and I never realized that it's actually just one really big creepy smile. If you had enough jump upgrades, you could probably just jump out of the map right here, because there's nothing stopping you. Like, there's no grate here, like how there is in other parts of maps and stuff like that. I wonder, though, if that is the case because it's so early, like we're like on level 3 or something like that. It's probably because they don't have to have some kind of barrier at the roof because you're on level 3, so it's physically impossible to have enough jump upgrades to make it up there. So I wonder if that's why that was the case. Here we go. We got a big furnace room here. Can we go inside of these? The answer is no, there's nothing inside of these, which kind of makes sense because with the other one, there's like a door and you can kind of see behind there. So it makes sense. With this one, it's completely closed up. So it makes sense that you can't go inside of it. Anything inside of the barrels? Nope, of course not. Oh, holy shit. It's my man, the mentalist. Look at him go. His brain looks like beans and a butt. All right, how does it render? It's interesting because it is literally just part of the screen. Like, that's not like in front of it or anything like that. It's not layered weird. It is literally just the screen. That's interesting. See, I think I know what they did. I think the actual screen itself is probably a separate entity, but still parented to the TV itself. And then there's something that can trigger it. I'm not sure what it is. I think there is some kind of distance you have to walk with items to get them to trigger, because I've been trying to get this to trigger for so long and I just could not get it to trigger until I carried it a good distance and then slightly bump into something after traveling for such a big distance. So I think that's kind of the trick with the TV. But I think whatever triggers it, it just replaces this entity, this child entity of the actual TV with that item, the item being the animated cartoon or whatever else like that. So I think that's how the TV works. And I think it is something to do with the distance that you carry it in. Oh, that's kind of textured weird there, isn't it? So I think that might be the case with all of the items, because I noticed many times before in the past where I'm holding like a radio and I'm bumping it a bunch and stuff like that, but it just does not trigger. But when I carry it like even just a small distance and then slightly bump it into something, it'll trigger. And it seems like that might be how it works. Weird textures underneath the map in this area. Like, why is that texture there? So something kind of interesting about the fountains is it's actually text, like the actual fountain itself is the baby enemy that you can find in the game. I think it's called a rugrat. And it is literally just that. You can even kind of go in his mouth a little bit. You can see that that's literally what it is, which could have its own more implications. Does this imply that it's the headman when he was a baby? Does this imply that it's the headman's baby? Why is this the case? I noticed before as well, this fountain can also be found at Swift Room Academy, and it's also the Rugrat. I don't believe I included that in that video, but it is the case. At Swift Room Academy, there is a fountain, and it also has this, which could be more reason to link both Headman Manor and Swift Room Academy, since they both have the same fountain. It could just be a coincidence, because that could just be they both bought the same fountain, I guess, but I think that's kind of interesting. So let me know in the comments below if there's anything I missed, anything else that you guys want a closer look at, because I'm more than willing to make another video going out of bounds. But until that happens, or until I come up with stuff on my own, this is gonna have to conclude this series. I hope you guys enjoyed it so far. There's so many things I learned about this game just purely by just walking around, floating around, you know, flying around, trying to find random stuff. Like, it's strange. I love this kind of stuff. This is a really strange thing, because there's a pit here, and it goes down, and then it's like this, but then there's like a layer underneath that as well for some reason. That's just so bizarre. Why is that like that? I don't think it was like that in some of the other levels that I checked. I might be wrong. Oh, also the carpet, or the rug, it's textured underneath as well, when it really has no reason to be textured at the bottom. Like, it has no reason to be textured at the bottom, yet it is for some reason, and that's kind of cool. And you see, I'm probably still gonna be finding things from now on, because there's just so much to see. There's so many different versions of the levels and stuff like that. When the museum is added to the base game, I will make a video on it as well. But for now, that is finally it for this series. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. And until next time, make sure you do it for the meme, because you got to do it for the meme. I'm going away. My people need me. Oh yeah, that's right. There's fall damage.